Hey everyone, it's Janaea from Creative Space Studios. This month for our Try It series, we are talking all about seamless paper. We have a variety of seamless paper in our space for you to use, and we wanted to just give you a rundown of the paper quality, how to use it, how to take care of it. So let's get to it. So our seamless paper comes from Savage Universal. This is industry standard non-reflective paper. It's really pigmented, and it's made specifically for photos and video projects. I love seamless paper because it really is the most easiest way to up-level a project that you're working on, and it's super simple to implement. It's really good quality paper. It's not like construction paper. You can like hear it. It's really thick and durable. I mean, yeah, you have to take care of it. This is like a scrap piece of paper because we're selling paper packs during this COVID-19 shelter-in-place time to help keep our studio open. Not open, but open. Anyway, this paper is amazing, and if you just want a simple way to add color, whether it be like a bright color like some of these, or just like a neutral tone for portraits, for product photography, anything like that, this paper is going to make everything you shoot look amazing. Although this paper is really thick and I say durable, we expect everybody that comes into the space to treat with care and be gentle with it because, of course, it's a shared resource. So people are going to be using it after you do. So we just want to make sure that you're using it with respect and caring for it properly, which I'll get into in a little bit. Here at Creative Space Studios, we have two main sizes of paper. The Savage Universal website has lots of different sizes, and we can show you some links to buy your own paper if you want to bring it into the space. But if you don't want to buy a whole entire roll, you can rent it at the space. They're $25 a roll, and you can use as many rolls as you want for whatever project you're using. Here we have 26-inch paper, and that's mainly for like flat lay stuff. And then the other size we have are these big 9-foot. They're 107-inch. They're really big. A lot of people use portrait size paper, which I believe is 53 inches across. But we decided to invest in bigger rolls because they have a lot more use. You can still use it for portraits, but you can also fit more people in it if you need. So just because of space, we thought we might as well just store the big guys, and then you can use it for a bunch of different things. Here at Creative Space Studios, the only way that we want our renters to be using the paper is with paper backdrop stands. We have a whole video about how to use our stands and where they're stored, where you can find all the equipment that you need to set up a backdrop stand. We highly encourage you to watch that video so you know how to use these awesome paper rolls. I'm going to show you how to use this paper two ways. One is just leaving it unraveled on the bottom. I like shooting this way because it just gives it more of an editorial kind of, fun look. But if you do want that seamless curve, I will show you how to do that. So I'm going to lower this a little bit so that the paper goes on the floor. And I'm just going to show you how to tape it on the floor properly. All the way down. So I have my tape here. I have my table. It's just one of our benches that we have here, stools that we have here. Actually, I'm gonna put it on this side. I just have everything set here so I don't have to bend over constantly to get stuff or run back and forth. I like to collect all the things that I need, so they're just an arm reach away. So I recommend for the space, like I said before, you can watch all of the YouTube videos you want before you come into the space, but everybody has different equipment. And we want to teach you, if you are considering renting the space, we want to teach you how to use our specific equipment so you can be the most efficient and confident when you're in here. So at our space, we just use painter's tape to keep the paper down. And it is rolly, as you can see. Like, it rolls up by itself. So it is a little bit ornery sometimes. But if you are armed with a couple pieces of tape, you'll be fine. Promise. Okay, so this is a small example. I'm not gonna roll it out all the way because I want to preserve this paper for when people come in. But I always, you don't want the paper, I mean, you could roll it up this way. You want a gradual, you want the seam to be gradual and not just like, see how you can see this line right here? Like I said, if it's your preference or if it's what you're going for, go for it. If you want a more gradual seam that doesn't have a darker seam to it right here, pull it out a little bit. It doesn't have to be a ton, but I would say pull it out enough and take a picture with it and just see if it's gradual enough for you. And I use long pieces of tape because, like I said, this paper is a bit ornery and it likes to just do what it wants. So, and don't feel like you have to skimp on this tape. This is very cheap tape. So use as much as you want so that you aren't fighting the paper later. This is a small example. You're not, like, if you're shooting somebody, you're gonna pull this out at least maybe 5 or 6 feet out, so people have enough room to walk. You can put plants on the paper, you can put stools on the paper. I'm just showing you generally how to pull it out so I can preserve this paper when people come in. Just like this. And if there's smaller gaps between the paper will stay in place, most likely. If you just put it on the edges, that's not gonna work. So just put it across like this. And it will, the tape will pop up every now and again, and that's okay. Things aren't perfect. But you can see that this curve is very graduated. It's not gonna, there isn't like a huge seam right here. There's a little bit, you can see it, and that's fine. But you want it to be nice and gradual, so it's nice and smooth and everything. And then after you're done shooting, if you have taped it down like this, and especially if people are walking in it, on it, so normally you would be pulling this paper out probably, what is that, 4 more feet? So that's about 6 feet. And people are gonna be walking all over this, you know? There's gonna be footprints, there's gonna, if you do like, you can't even see my head. Hello. There's gonna be footprints. If you guys do cake smashes or anything, there's gonna be cake, there's gonna be confetti, there's gonna be dust, there's gonna be dirt, there's gonna be a ton of crap on this. And if it's not super dirty, if there are little, I don't know, I guess you can be the judge of this, make sure to sweep off all of the dust, all of the dirt, anything that's on the paper. If it is really dirty, please cut the paper off. And if you want to bring it home, you totally can. You can use the reverse side for flat lays or whatever. If you're not going to use it, you have to throw the paper away. Like, do not leave the paper here. And don't leave the paper uncut. If it is dirty, it's your responsibility as a renter to take care of the paper, cut it off, throw it away, or keep it, so that the next person that comes in doesn't have to deal with that. So I'm gonna show you just how I do it. So if it's taped to the floor, I just untape it, like so. And I try to be gentle with the tape, because like I said, if we can preserve this, this paper for as long as possible, then the next person doesn't have to deal with messes or ripped paper or things like that. And it's just it's a much nicer client experience if everybody is taking care of the things that are in the space. So even though it has tape on it, I'm just gonna leave it. And I'm gonna roll it down, or I'm gonna roll it up. And I'm actually gonna cut the tape off when it's all rolled up. And I'm gonna have new tape to put on there. So I'll show you how that works. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, oops, this one down, and I'm gonna lower it a little bit on each side. And just be careful when you're bringing it down not to crinkle it. If it does crinkle, just put your foot under it and just kind of slide it out so it has room to roll on the bottom. And if it's been out for a while, if you've been shooting for a while, the paper tends to relax and it's not as rolly. So you might need to, encourage it to roll in the direction that you want it so it doesn't crease. The biggest thing for this paper is to keep it smooth. If it's wrinkled or dirty, it's basically useless. I understand that you can Photoshop and get little things out, but if there's a big crease in this paper, it's just a big bummer to have to try to get that one crease out every single time. Big bummer. Okay, so I got my table. I'm gonna take some tape, and what I usually do is I just take a piece of tape for the middle to start, and then I'll get the ends later. I take the clamp off here, and this is a trick that I actually learned from the Savage Universal website. So when you're rolling the paper up, you want to have a pretty firm grip on this paper, because the other thing you don't want is the paper to be really loose. That also encourages a lot of wrinkling, and then the paper is not smooth and beautiful like you want it to be, or like anybody else after you wants it to be. So when I roll it up, I'm keeping a pretty firm grip, and I'm doing it in the middle of the paper, not to the side, because then it'll roll up uneven. I just do it in the middle, and I am keeping a really firm grip until it's all up like this, and yeah, it'll stick to itself, and that's fine. You just want to make sure that if it is stuck to itself, you want to peel the tape off really, really gently so it doesn't rip the paper on the other end. Okay, so I'm taking this and I'm smoothing it out. And if you're gonna move it all, just keep that grip, just like this. This over a little bit. Oh, I forgot one thing. See how I'm keeping this grip? The whole time I'm keeping this grip really firm so it doesn't unravel. same grip, and I'll show you another trick. So I'm gonna use my clamp again. Actually, I'm gonna roll this. Okay, so I use my clamp so now I don't have to hold it right now. I'm just gonna take it and I'm literally going to cut probably an inch above this tape. I'm not cutting very much. Do not roll this paper up and use the old tape. The old tape that you use on the floor should be cut off every single time. Doesn't matter what you're using it for. Just cut off an inch above this paper. And now the person behind you or after you is gonna have a nice clean paper to work with, and they're not gonna have to fight with old paper. It's just, we just wanna keep this paper as preserved as possible and let the other renters behind you have a really easy, simple time using this paper. And if there's old tape on it, it just is a mess. So I'm gonna keep cutting this. And see how easy this is? Like, I'm not bent over, I'm not, you know, it's just super easy to cut this little strip off after you're done. Done. Okay, so here's the trick. Here is the trick. So I have my tape. I'm gonna take the clamp off. And you'll notice probably that there's gonna be a little give to the paper if you squeeze it. If you have a firm grip on this paper and you just keep rolling it, I know it seems really weird. You keep rolling it a couple times, it is gonna tighten. And we want this roll of paper really tight. If it's tight, it doesn't get wrinkled and it doesn't get ruined. So once I squeeze it and I'm not feeling too much of a give, like there is no give right now, I'm gonna keep holding it and I'm gonna tape it in place, and I'm gonna start on this outside flap here. I'm gonna tape it on the outside flap, and then I'm gonna pull it towards me to tape it down. So there's a lot of pull coming this way to keep it tight. And I'm gonna do the same thing on both sides. I know this seems a little ridiculous, but it's really important for us to keep this paper nice and tight because we don't want it wrinkly. So again, I'm gonna tape it on this flap, I'm gonna pull it and tape it across. So it's nice and tight. And I'm using a pretty good length, and I'm also taping it long ways. You don't want to do it this way because it just doesn't keep the paper tight enough. So I'm gonna start here. Tape it down, and then I'm just gonna pull. Easy peasy. And boom, this paper is nice and tight and it's ready to go back in the storage area.